What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Triangl. This is your boy, D.
And it's your girl, CJ.
And until Black people are set free, nobody else gets to be free. I'm Brandi.
Hey, say it again for the niggas in the back.
Okay? Once you give us free, it'll be good for everybody else. But until you do right by us.
Until you do right by us.
Until you do right by us.
Are we hexing people? I feel like that's a hex.
Color purple.
It is color purple. We talked about this.
We did, didn't we? Somebody had, I think it was was it Dorinda? Somebody had fucking commented, like, CJ, well, at least you read the book, CJ. I was like, I don't watch movies. I'm sorry. God, it's just not my thing. Anyway, can we talk about the ridiculous amount of just information that is going on right now and protests and just...
It's a lot of information about the same thing. I think
everybody's
already indoctrinated with a lot of information. Definitely. But to have so much information just related to this
it's a lot.
Like insane. It's overwhelming, it's exciting, it's heartbreaking, it's so much at one time.
I don't even know where to start, to be honest. It's where do you want to start? Because I have a lot, but let's get going. I know you had a bunch of stuff written down, and some of it was the same points that we both had.
I do.
So look at you. Got your notebook today, too. Hey.
Ready to go.
Let's do it. What you got? What you got, Grandma? I'm done.
There were a couple of things I wanted to get into.
Yes.
Just to keep it light off bat, I'm going to read what I saw one of the Justins say, and I know we're
talking about Bieber, right? Is that the one?
We're not talking about Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, we talking about Bieber. I saw that. I totally forgot. I actually read it too as well.
Oh, I didn't forget because I was like, I don't know who your PR team is. Or
he did a good job.
But they did that. So Justin Bieber's PR team. On his IG, I am inspired by Black culture. I have benefited off of Black culture. My style, how I sing, dance, perform, and my fashion have all been influenced and inspired by Black culture. I'm committed to using my platform from this day forward to learn to speak up about racial injustice and systematic oppression, and to identify ways to be a part of much needed change. How Mr. Timberlake let Bieber beat him to this message?
I mean, because Bieber either has a really good PR team or Bieber was like listening to the ground. You know, he wasn't like tone deaf.
Pretty much. Because
it's one or the other.
Yes, to the tone deaf. Because I feel like Justin went into this level of, especially when he started like a couple of years ago, kind of saying all lives matter without saying it. It's kind of like you don't want to take a stance. And we need people right now that aren't lukewarm because we're not playing. So if you're going to be an ally, we don't need you to be lukewarm. So I can appreciate him putting this out there, especially the type of white people that are Justin Bieber fans, because they need to see a message like this from you.
I agree.
This proves that it is deeper than just like we've been saying about this police. There's a history, a long one, of us having stuff and y'all taking it and then making it harder for us to get the credits, to get to where we need to be, to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, as some people say.
Oh my God, the bootstrap thing is so annoying.
The fucking bootstraps.
Like we literally make our own boots and then y'all take them and burn them.
Right.
Every time.
No, it's like, it's like snatching it from a kid and be like, it's up here.
Yeah.
Get it.
I
know you made it, but get it.
Right. So I just love that he said that, and I'm wanting like Miley Cyrus, Justin Timberlake, any of those artists, Robin Thicke, who the fuck ever.
Did Taylor Swift say anything? I'm wondering.
Oh, let me say, girl.
Did she say anything? I want to know. You know why I bring up Taylor Swift? It's because every time something happens with a group of people, she tries to play
Taylor was
it.
for the gays for a minute. She was
because she had that whole video with everybody from the LGBTQ community, but I know that her upbringing doesn't allow for that because she's never mentioned it until recently. You know what I mean? Like, it's the whole
so the most she did was she put just the Black picture up. She put Black Lives Matter, but when we're talking about people, we don't know what they're doing behind the scenes or whatever.
Yeah, that's very important. Can I re-say that thing that I said last week? I really want people to feel and understand and know that just because you don't see a friend posting a blackout, picture or saying Black Lives Matter, you don't know if they're donating behind the scenes. You don't know if they committed to like eating only at Black restaurants, Black-owned businesses. You don't know any of that stuff. So you got to make sure that you allow people to support in their own lane.
And at the end of the day, you don't know if this person has just been genuinely with us in every
every way, and not know about it because they weren't just. Some people are introverts; they're not as loud as other people, and it's okay with that. Now, what I will not stand for is people like coming in and saying, "Oh, all lives matter," or "Oh, it's not that bad." It is. It's really bad, and Black Lives Matter. So,
what's even worse are the ones that come in and say, "Oh, Black Lives Matter," with a fucked up ass track record like old girl from Glee. That's what's even worse.
That part.
That's what's even worse. How fast they gathered her together. They're not tolerating it. No. So I'm here for them calling out, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate just a little bit because yes,
you're pulling a D.
I'm pulling a D, Jazz. You never know what somebody's doing behind the scenes, but I think the way this is being pushed, and why it's being pushed like this, because we're seeing these atrocities in real time. So people also want the opposite side of that spectrum of you're going to see us and hear us in real time. So yes, we need people to do what they do behind the scenes, but I think now more than ever, speak out, make your stance known. Don't have nobody trying to guess what the fuck you are for and what you're not for. Like, yeah, I mean, especially every day about it, but the least you could do is do some Black Lives Matter something, even if you just put the hashtag on Twitter, even if you just change the frame.
I think that applies more for people with a platform, not like everyday people.
Everyday people that have no platform, that's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just wanted to make that clarification. I feel like, if you're a celeb of any kind, influencer of any kind, Dolls Kill is one of the brands I follow, and I always complain that they only have gothy girls that are pale, and that's it. And they got dragged recently because they did not shout out any BLM stuff. They don't have brown and Black models. The closest thing is 1 or 2 Asian girls, and that's it. So they are like, the CEO had to get on. I haven't watched the video yet because I was like, well, I've been saying that about their brand the whole time. So, like,
but even with that platform, like, I'm not even meaning you have to have tens of thousands of followers.
Yeah.
I have a platform. If you have social media, you should be saying something supporting it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's how I feel. You should be saying something supporting it. You really should, because I can understand how this, more so than a lot of other things, like people disagreeing with political views and whatever else the case is going on in the world, I could see how this could really rock some friendships and relationships more than any of that stuff we've seen before.
You know what I don't want this to be? I don't want this to be like some kind of a fucking trend that's over in 6 months. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but like before, this definitely feels different. It may be that way for some people that are the tag-alongs to it, but
that's what I mean.
Majority, this is the real shit. Those tag-alongs can tag their asses along in 6 months. But the rest of us, we're real about it. I
mean, because we have been talking about this forever. We went hard for all of our, Black History Month, Asian History Month, and things like that. But I feel like sometimes when even major things happening around the world, like all over the place, it still becomes this like 6-month thing, and people forget about it eventually. And I mean, look at Sandra Bland. That shit hasn't like been addressed. Like Breonna Taylor, like it just got reopened.
Those things haven't been addressed
what's so fucked up, man, with the Breonna Taylor shit. It's like, come on, she was fucking sleeping.
8 bullets, guys. 8 bullets in bed while she was sleeping.
8 bullets while she was asleep after coming from she was on the COVID floor?
Yeah, she works.
She's a fucking nurse, and I'm sure she did a crazy shift that day.
Took
them home to be shot.
Is she a nurse or EMT? Something.
No fucking reason.
One or the other.
I heard she was a nurse.
I thought she was Either way, she's somebody who is saving lives. So, and
I'm sure even EMTs and nurses do exhausting shifts. And to come home and to get a good night's rest, and you have some 4 plain clothes officers come to your house.
I need to know what the hell that was about.
In his house. It's like, get the fuck out. And the dude that you're looking for is already in custody. You got everybody all the way fucked up. You can miss
what I'm saying.
That case needs to be all the way open.
That's what I'm saying. And it's speaking of which, police, recently there has been an uprise of police just like helping other people who are fucked up as well. Let's talk about this guy. So in California, Bakersfield to be exact, this guy named Timothy Keith Moore, who is also part of the KKK, obviously, because he has the Nazi 1488 symbol tattooed onto his shoulders. He fucking ran over a protester, okay, and called it an accident, right?
Was that the one that did it in a truck?
There's another one. I can't remember which one's which because there's more. Like, this is not the only one. So basically, after that happened, the cops like surrounded him and helped him stay safe, not arrest him for running over a protester.
Yeah.
They kept him away from the protester. I get it. I get that part. But you didn't arrest him. I don't understand that part. And then the other guy...
I don't think anybody ever will. It's called the privilege of the matter. That's what goes into it.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is...
the benefit of the doubt is given to those privileged.
There's another guy, Harry Rogers, in Virginia, who ran over somebody as well, and nothing has happened to him yet. Like, he literally ran over protesters that were occupying the roadway. And I'm just like, this is so confusing to me. And let's talk about, on the same note, this cop who hardcore assaulted a 21-year-old college student. He's getting applauded for turning himself in for a felony. Like, there's like police officers, people from that community clapping and applaud. I watched the video and I got sick to my stomach because I was like, he assaulted a 21-year-old kid, college student. He fucking took that.
Who's applauding? Is it like the community? Is it the other police officers?
Other police officers from that department and other districts, along with the community. And people are like patting him on the back in the video. I'll send you the video. It's fucking ridiculous.
And there's also those officers that pushed that old guy.
Oh,
that pushed that old guy that resigned.
So, oh my God. Okay, so that story.
57.
Yeah. So all of those officers that were in his squadron quit.
They all resigned.
They all resigned in support of the guy who got all he got was suspended for putting this guy in the ICU. He was bleeding out of his ears.
74 or 5-year-old man pushed down.
And then they try to say he tripped and fell.
No, he did not trip and fall. And he's bleeding out of his ears, goddammit.
I'm like, y'all want to quit? Y'all can quit then. We need some other people in there.
Because you know what's so fucked up? Because I remember at one point in Florida, I don't know what year this was. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if they were ever able to rectify this or not. There was a teenage black boy who was confronted by a senior citizen man, and he pushed him, fell in a similar fashion. However, this man did not make it. And this boy got life in prison. So
is that the one with the bus guy?
I'm not sure the situation. I know I was maybe 14, 15 when this happened. Okay,
that's a different
one. In
one.
Florida, which is where I had just moved from a few years prior before being, PCS'd out to Japan. But yeah, this shit happened in Florida. It was a kid not too much older than me, if not the same age. Pushed the man. He fell, happened to pass away due to the injuries that he, received from the fall. This kid is in prison, I'm sure now. So if nothing happens to these people, it goes to show. Like Governor Sisolak said, double standard.
So it's just so much, right? Because I feel like we're comprehending this situation better than any white person who's like, oh, the cops didn't mean to do it. Didn't mean to do it. I mean, you saw him push they could have walked around him. That guy was so frail. I could have picked him up and
at the end of the day, comprehension and denial are two totally different things.
Right.
Those same people that we say that they can't comprehend, they can comprehend it, but at the same time, that's a hard fucking pill to swallow.
It's like what I said.
You got to swallow that whole goddamn thing by yourself.
Pretty much. Guess what? And then when you can understand, because most of them do, whether they understand it from a standpoint of being sympathetic or you understand it from the standpoint of your privilege in the matter. if we're on the opposite side of the spectrum and people look at us as guilty and dangerous already, that means somebody on the other side of the spectrum has to always be looked at as benefit of the doubt. Innocent. Maybe or maybe they didn't do it. And cops get that a lot. Not
always.
Just the majority of them are white, but men. And then on top of this, women, that's a whole different ball game too, with women that are female cops. That's awful for them too. So when you're a white cop, male, and you got yourself involved in something where you need to be convicted and looked at as guilty. I was hearing, I want to say it was Kamala Harris was talking about, it might be hard to convict them because of how jurors end up seeing cops and because of the good old boys behind them basically being like, hey, we were just trying to A, B, and C, and you don't know how it is out here, and blah, 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 and basically being able to talk their way out of shit. But
they do.
I'm like, the fact that we are still having these discussions. I'll never forget seeing the Rodney King tapes when I was younger, maybe like 14. And I was thinking, oh, fuck, like, there's no way these people are going to do this and get away with it. And I'm watching documentary, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm sorry. And this wasn't something that was like the 40s, the 50s, the 60s.
No, this was 1990
I was
something.
not understanding that. And then I remember telling myself being overseas, I was like, I'm so happy we'll never have to deal with something so awful.
Here we are.
Here we are, even in the last
surprise, motherfucker.
over and over and over again. And we're tired of it. People need to be held accountable across the board, but especially when you are in a field where the perceived notion is you're supposed to help me out.
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, like until white people realize that this is a white issue that needs to be solved and not empathize with black people, it's not going to change. Because the only reason, we talked about it earlier, the only reason this shit is moving along is because white people are feeling a little bit oppressed because they can't do shit and they're getting beat as well this time. And
well, catch this though. I think when you allow law enforcement to act in a certain way, I think that sets a precedent at one point, because especially if you have law enforcement that are maybe assigned to a black community or assigned to a community that's maybe black and brown, you know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden you pull these officers, right? And you assign them to another community, they will still have that same behavior because this is what they've been
let's talk about these officers, because
I, like, for instance, I watched a video recently, like when I say recently, I mean yesterday. I'm not sure how recent or how new the video was.
Right.
But it was a murder. That was a murder. And it was white on white crime. I'm going to call it what it was. It was white on white. And it was a white officer, a white gentleman was shot dead in what looked like a hotel hallway. And that shit was out of line, the way that it was done. So I think it sets a precedent. This is how we're supposed to approach.
Well, here's the thing. It has always been that way. And let me tell you why. And a lot of people don't know this. I think Brandi found all the pictures and posted it for our page. And I think we touched on it a little bit. But the original reason for police being established was to catch runaway slaves. It was not to serve and protect. Say,
from what I did research, that was predominantly in the South. Now they fucked up shit up north, but down south, hands down, like, niggas. But up north, they're still wrangling up people for bullshit reasons as well.
Still
handing out deputy things like they were candy.
I told you, they still doing deputy things down here.
Decide for themselves, I'm the law. And meanwhile, they're the same law enforcement that's condemning prostitutes, but you're raping prostitutes. There were prostitutes that were here and in England around the time where a lot of Nazi stuff was going down, and they did those the Blitz bombing and stuff. And they were basically talking about how not only regular businessmen were just raping them because it could be done, but people that they were looking to trust. That's why they said Jack the Ripper is probably somebody that people
trust. That same shit, it's precedent being set.
It is
off of
what
crazy. Is allowed to happen. So
but
now,
the fact that you can look at another human being and look at them as less than like that, like they don't,
because it's the precedent that is set. So now you have the situation to where you have this white cop killing a white man. Now you capture the attention of who? Everybody was saying that what we were saying is bullshit. Oh, the police, they don't do that. They're not about that. No, they are about that. Now you can see, because now a precedent was set to open your eyes. You see what I'm saying? Because before, it's us being paranoid, it's us being hypersensitive, it's us playing the victim. Now you're able to see what systematic shit will turn someone into. You see what I'm saying? Systematically, over time, you put someone in this condition, it turns them into a monster. Now they don't give a fuck about nobody.
Well, here's the thing. What have we been saying from the get-go? If you're not going to stand with us, ain't nobody going to be left to stand with y'all either. Right?
True.
And that's, they took it upon themselves to go with it. And, you know, the thing is, I know people are like, this is going to be a race war. It's not a race war. It's good versus evil. It's good and evil.
Good and evil.
Good and evil, because police brutality is the evil that we're trying to get rid of, right? And the good is us trying to, one of them. It's a start. It's a start. But here's the thing. I don't know if you guys saw my post where I talked about the cops being hired hands. Some of these police officers that are at the protest don't look like cops. Have you noticed? And I posted, so
I saw some.
Jesus.
I saw some of the videos.
I hate you, Brandi. I can't stand her. This is why you're such a bitch. Listen, Leah Michelle. Oh my God.
Oh wait, I still gotta figure out her zodiac sign.
Only thing you're missing is that.
No, okay, so listen. So outrageous. I've seen the
outrageous. Yo, jawline, outrageous.
This is why I can't stand that.
He knows
no. Body up.
Disclaimer: we did not own any lyrics.
I just wanna be happy. She said, "In the place where love is free." What the fuck are we talking about?
In the place where love is free.
Can you
take me there? Somebody. Oh.
Are you done? Are you guys done?
We will never be done.
Are you guys
done? Over.
We're done.
We're taking it to a whole nother level. Oh my God. I'm about to mute their asses. Why? Mute their asses. No, for real. So, okay, no, listen. Okay, so
forever outrageous.
Jesus. Okay. If you're listening to us on a podcast, please go watch the video because they're being stupid. I can't stand them. You can see my face. I am not amused.
I that D knows all the same songs.
I can't stand y'all.
Perfect.
And the fucking dances to go with it. I can't. I cannot. Anyway, back
on track.
topic.
Back on the race war.
Not the race war. Good versus evil. But no, these cops. What I noticed was, so there's a video of this cop, obviously not in the right gear. The gears are not fitting them. There's a lot of cops that look like they're not
I could totally
real police
see that
officers. And here's the thing. The way they're using their weapons, the rubber bullets is the first thing I noticed because I've read about it a long time ago. You're supposed to shoot the ground with that, not directly into people. You're supposed to shoot the ground about 40 to 60 yards or 70 yards away from people so that it bounces off the ground and in its trajectory goes into the group of people that you're trying to like suppress.
Nah, they say bah, bah, bah.
Yeah, well, the people are losing an eye. Some people are dying.
I've
people
seen some
have
of those
fractures
pictures
in their head. You know, I've seen it where the guy lost his eye and the guy with the fracture in his skull. So they're using their weapons wrong. The gear don't fit them. Some of them, there's a picture I'm gonna have to send y'all because you have to see it to believe it. Where I'm like, how is he going to run after the protest? Because he has a serious medical condition and I don't know how he got into that situation. Okay, so I posted that. One of my old friends who was in the Marine Corps said he's been thinking the same thing for the last 2 weeks. And then I have another one who was in the academy and he was like, they're not using the same tactics that I learned, which means I'm wondering if some of these people ain't like Craiglisted hired help like they always have. Because think about how many people all of a sudden showed up to the streets in gear. Like
that would make sense because think about how many people just came out to protest. They outnumbered, so
they outnumbered still.
Sense. They're outnumbered.
But also the language that they are using. One of the videos I watched, the guy who was talking sounded like he was playing a video game while he's talking to the protesters. I shit you not. Like it sounded like he was playing like COD or something. That's Call of Duty for non-nerds out there like me.
Side note, Miss Jaw is a Virgo, so there's that.
No, so it has nothing to do with the zodiac. Everything to do with that fucking jawline, because that shit is fucking outrageous. She got a giggity
jawline. They talking about Leah Michelle. Nah, Virgos are like that. My mama's a Virgo.
My mom's a Virgo too.
Quick.
So we know.
Sorry, Virgos. Anybody listening? So there's a couple of things I definitely wanted y'all opinions on.
Okay, let's go.
Running together.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much shit that's.
I know. We still got another half after this. We're good.
One girl, no, we don't. He got shit to do. I'm not gonna be up here all night. So, one of the things that was brought up was by Billy Porter.
Okay.
Who decided to take this moment to basically be like, Black people got some nerve trying to end white supremacy when they're coming on the LGBTQ, like he went in on that.
Saw that.
What did he say?
So
like,
I can bring up the video.
I totally missed it. I'm usually on point with Billy Porter stuff.
The video's quick too. Like,
okay. Bring it up. Because I really wanted to I'm going to add his name into it because I read, obviously Candace Owens said some stuff about this whole movement. The Hodge twins. I don't know if you guys know who that is. They're like
the Hodge twins.
Fitness gurus. Also Terry Crews with his like white supremacy versus black supremacy.
Which this is all gonna get because I have my own opinions about a lot of that, but I found Billy, so I
okay, let's hear it. Make sure you get it to the mic. It's close to you.
And Black people hear me. Because y'all ain't gonna like this one. As a Black queer man in America, my basic human rights have been up for legislation every single day that I have had breath in my body from all sides. And by that, I mean that the Black community's relationship with the LGBTQ plus community is appalling at best and eerily similar to that of white supremacists versus Black folk. Hear me, Black people, and hear me well. I'm calling y'all out right here and right now. You cannot expect our demands of equality to be met with any real legislative policy and change when y'all
why did they put the banjo on?
The same kind of hate and oppression on us.
Now,
okay.
Before y'all say something, I have to read these comments.
Okay.
Do I screenshot it? And then I, of course, want to hear from both of you. Of
course.
Especially you, Demetri.
Especially D.
Given your situation. So.
You hear me, Scoop?
Your Scoop. So a couple of comments that happened was one person who is kind of like an industry person that helps out other people's careers, but a lot of people don't know who he is, but he helps like the Karuchis and other people like that. But he said, Black Lives Matter, let's keep the focus. And then somebody else said, gays are fighting to live a lifestyle free of criticism. Black people are just fighting to live. Somebody else decided to say, your husband is white, sir. We're definitely going to get into that. But that was the comment.
Because that's going to be the second bit.
And then somebody else said, boy, bye. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community, you cannot compare the relationship of Black people to us versus white supremacy. We never been enslaved by Black people, kidnapped and taken across continents and stripped of our names, culture, religion, and countryship by Black people. Homophobia is volatile, but don't you dare try to compare oppressions.
Okay, D. You go, because you are a Black male that's gay.
Go. Let's go. Oh, motherfucking lay. So this is where we go with this shit. Me being LGBT is fuck. Who the fuck that's Black is preventing anyone from LGBT from succeeding in any aspect? Any aspect. LGBT, and when I say LGBT, I'm not talking about the Black ones. I'm talking about all of them across the board. I don't give a fuck where you come from. I don't care what you look like. What are we doing as, I'm gonna rephrase that. What systems have we put into place to suppress LGBT? What systems have Black people put into place to suppress them?
Y'all hearing this? You hear D?
I want to know if anybody, everybody who's watching right now, yes, you, me and you right now in the camera, me and you. If you can tell me what system was put into place by blacks that suppressed LGBT. I'm not talking about within my own community.
Right.
Because every community has their own suppression of LGBT. Whether you want to believe it or not, every community has done it, and they still do it today. What has the black community done to suppress LGBT?
There isn't.
Now,
because
with that same question being asked, what has, I'm going to phrase it like this, like my governor phrased it, because he wanted to avoid backlash. What has mainstream America done to suppress black people?
Right.
And I'm talking recent history, and I mean in the last 100 years. Because slavery ended more than 100 years ago. So we're not even talking about that can of worms. Because people love to bring the slavery shit back into it.
Right.
We're not talking about slavery. I'm talking about since a good 100 years after freedom. What systems have been put into place to suppress blacks? Not only blacks, anybody of color. I can name quite a fucking few. So that whole argument has to go.
I agree. You know, that your point made me think of another point, because like piggybacking off of what you said, like the reason why the black community has an issue with the LGBTQ community is because we're all Christian.
That's it.
And Christianity came from a white situation. Like I know this is gonna hurt some people or annoy some people. It might come off the wrong way to some people, but everything that has been taught in Christianity was to suppress everybody but white males. If you look at the history, none of the books that were written by even the white females made it into the Bible. It's sitting somewhere underneath the Vatican right now, right? And you know, like, because it's a man-made like book, there's no other explanation for it. That means that all the places that got colonized with the missionaries and stuff, the whole reason of this religion was to suppress black people. And within that religion, they were told that, you know, you turn around and look at that city with guys having sex with guys and women having sex with women, you're going to turn into a pile of salt. That is the story in the Bible, right?
But when you take that story and you really look at it, the moral of the story was, it was layered. That wasn't just the only thing.
Right, but that's the main translation that people go with, is what I'm saying. It's not the actual story that's there.
They do that with a lot of stuff.
Right.
You have to dig deep into other stuff.
But so for me, for Billy Porter to say something like that, he absolutely dismissed the fact that the only system that had brought black people to suppress the LGBT community was, again, made by white colonizers. We're in the same place.
I will say this, if somebody knows, because we are always open to information.
Absolutely.
And learning something. If somebody knows, because I'm agreeing with what CJ and Demetrius is saying right now, 100%. But if somebody knows of other religious affiliations that were happening outside of traditional Christianity in the state that gave gay people a hard time or condemn them for it, please let us know, because I'm having a hard time believing that's something that was accepted outside of university.
It was, though. I'm about to get into it.
I don't know every single religious thing
most Eastern
religions.
Go ahead.
Frowned upon.
Which one?
It seems like some
Abrahamic religions.
Have a hard
Judaism,
time.
Christianity,
it's all related.
Islam,
so here's the thing:
all comes from the same origin.
If you're indigenous to America, if you were Native American, they call those people two-spirited. Okay. And so they were accepted in the indigenous American communities. If you go to Eastern Asia, most of the communities there and religions there had like a whole community built around them where they could live in their own situation. It actually got worse after the colonizers. Before white people came.
We're noticing a pattern.
We're noticing a pattern.
And also, I know within like Samoa, they have the Fa'afafine, which were a subculture of people where it was like a transgender community.
Yes. So and then even in Thailand, they had that whole I can't remember what it's called, damn it. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Similar to Fa'afafine.
Yeah, but so in most other cultures and religions, like the LGBTQ situation was not really a issue until the colonization happened and Christianity and Muslim and Judaism came into play.
After people cherry pick those
all the things that they want to. That is the problem that we're having.
But we're not gonna get into deep.
No, but we're about to take a break real quick because we gotta keep this moving along today. Because we can talk all day about this shit. We'll be right back.
And we're back, people.
Bitches, we is back, and this is great. You know what? Like, we have so much to say, and I know we're gonna keep talking about this while it is like Brandi said, it's hot. The iron is hot, and all of that. But I know you said you had
Billy Porter. Hold on.
Yeah, Billy Porter. Yes, go ahead.
I felt everything y'all was saying.
Yes.
Like the issue here, as we segue into some mixed couple stuff.
Yes.
I feel like the issue here is you're taking the fact that you're not accepted, and I know that can hurt. We know how much that can hurt. And you're wanting that acceptance, and you should want it. And what you said was very true to a certain extent. I just feel like time and place. Read the room, nigga. This was not the time.
It was not.
You raise your hand and say, me too. You might as well have said all lives matter.
He sure
This ain't the time. Because when we say Black Lives Matter, we don't mean
we included him.
Straight Black men.
We included him when we said that.
In this, but you pulled a Me Too. And then you basically, at least in my head, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, you made you being gay higher than you being Black.
I agree.
And when somebody sees you, unless you're in one of those bomb-ass gowns that he wears to the Met Gala and everything else, because you see, he can dress. He is dressing.
Of course.
So unless you're being like that, and unless you're that gay that's always like, nobody knows.
Strip your ass down outside of everything you got. Somebody looks at you, they don't see gay. They see Black.
They see Black.
You see what I'm saying?
That's why we can get with that.
That's why I ain't entertaining that shit. I ain't with it. I hear you, but I ain't with it.
Now, I will say this, though. I feel where people were coming from, and I want CJ to chime in on this because I know she will. I feel where people are coming from in the sense of when somebody, I guess, challenged him and basically said, but your partner is white, trying to dismiss what he said. I don't feel like his partner being white should dismiss what he said because what he said was very true and very relevant and on brand. But this goes back to acceptance. So for those of you listening, if you have a partner and you are pro-Black or whatever you want to call yourself, and you have a partner who is not Black, understand that what you're doing for the community and what you guys may be doing together is important and it is needed. However, there will be a lot of people, probably more so than to your liking, that won't respect it because you didn't get with somebody Black. They'll try to invalidate it. I don't think it's right, but I'm also like, prepare yourself for that shit.
Well, and on that, to piggyback on that, like when you don't have acceptance from your own community, which, Billy Porter obviously felt and gone through being a gay man, you get people like Candace Owens and the Hodge twins and like Terry Crews. Because obviously, like, I mean, I'm including myself in that a little bit because it's hard being a Black girl or a brown girl and being the nerdy kind. Brandi, you too, you know that. Like, D being gay, all of us being like not what you would call a regular Black person.
Not the cool kids club.
Stereotypical, you know what I'm saying? Like when we were doing our hip hop dance crew thing, we were so Black. Everybody saw us as so Black, but then you start doing things like cosplay, you start dressing your gothy way like I do, you let people know that you're gay, all of that changes the way that people look at you from our own community.
We talk, though.
Yeah, because I can turn it on and off as well. You know what I mean? Because I learned how to do that because it's survival for us. You know what I'm saying? But I think the acceptance thing is a large part in some of our everybody calls coons, and it's hard because I feel like Candace Owens is obviously a intelligent human being.
She is.
If you listen to her, the way she like delivers things and stuff, you know that her cognitive situation is there. But the problem is that she was probably more along the lines of, like probably very smart in school, got made fun of for being smart because that's how the community worked, right? I hated getting good grades. fucking hated doing assemblies and shit like that because I just didn't want to be that person. But I mean, here we are. But for her, I think it was even on a bigger scale where it turned her off from her own community. And I think maybe the Hodge twins the same way, and maybe Terry Crews is the same way. On top of him having a white wife, that didn't help.
Wait a minute though, because I thought she was white too, but she's
not white.
What did you say?
Is she Hispanic?
She all mixed up.
She looks.
She looks okay, but she carries herself in a Caucasian way.
But she's
I got some light-skinned family members of mine that can legitimately pass for white. I don't know where the fuck that comes from.
What I'm saying is,
but she looks like one of my family members. I'm like,
but no, I'm not even talking about just looks though. But she carries herself like she's passing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so does Terry Crews by the things that he said. This is not the first time he says something crazy.
What exactly did Terry Crews say?
Oh, I got it right here for you guys. I got it right here for you. Let me pull up my little Terry Crews screenshot that I had. Oh, here we go. So he said,
I just put that last bit of
this is off of his Twitter. Defeating white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy. Equality is the truth. Like it or not, we are all in this together. Like,
did you now my phone's charging, but did you see what his co-star, the little boy that played Chris on Everybody Hates Chris, wrote to him?
What he said?
That got so they weren't reading him for filth, right? But him and another co-star.
What's his name? Orlando Jones, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. He said I said it's right here actually. He was like, black supremacy. This is Orlando Jones. He said, black supremacy ? We represent 13% of the U.S. population, hold no institutional power, and gaslight our co-workers. We got 99 problems, and your math isn't the only one.
And then there were other people that have worked with him that made comments too. The boy that played Chris and Everybody Hates Chris. It was really sweet how he entered into it because he's like, look, I got love for you and everything else. However, what you said, it's not holding weight here. And then, of course, Terry Crews backpedaled again. This ain't the first time Terry Crews.
That's what I'm saying.
Black community, because you already didn't have Gabrielle Union's back, and we already see what your wife looked like. Now, for some people, love is love, but I'm even taking that to a certain extent because I'm a person that believes you can help who you love. Now, when I say that, I'm saying it like I make the conscious choice not to fall in love with a 13-year-old boy. That's not my thing. It's not going to be something where I say I can't help it. Yes, you can. You can't help it. And you choose a certain partner for a certain reason. So
absolutely.
I'm not surprised, especially as they climb certain corporate ladders or certain ladders in the industry. I'm not surprised when a black man's wife or partner gets lighter or more mixed or whatever, because those are the beauty standards, a sign of being successful. None of that is a surprise, but I do know those two had been together way before he hit it big.
Oh yeah, they've been together since like they were like in reddish fucking Kodak pictures and shit.
Yeah, they've been together for a minute. But I had to look them up again because I said, something about these comments makes me feel like Terry Crews is married to a white girl or some mixed shit. And when I brought it back up, I was like, I knew there's something to that. And I know it's not every couple, so if you're listening, don't try to come for us. But there's just something to that because I'm like, Obama would never. I mean, like certain people that are with certain people just wouldn't even think to say something so insensitive. But like Amanda Seales was saying, you out here cooning because you're more worried about that white dollar than you are for flat out being like, hey, let's just stick with the injustice.
That's exactly what I was going to say. At the end of the day, I think he was looking at his dollar and to say the right thing right on time. That's my thing. I look at shit that happens right on time. If it seems too on the money,
phrase.
Right on time.
The election
sparks a fucking. I'm like, I don't trust that shit. It's too right on time. His comment was too right on time. It was too just.
I will say that.
And he said the same thing when Gabrielle Union was asking to basically make a stand for her and the discriminatory behavior she was experiencing from Simon Cowell and everybody else. And what did he do? He said some stuff that you typically hear from white people.
Absolutely. Like, that shit had me.
I never experienced agency and I've never seen it. And it didn't happen to me. So I mean, it didn't happen, Terry, because it didn't happen to you. Because you had a great experience because you are shucking and jiving for this money. And I ain't knocking you.
Shucking and jiving.
You are shucking and jiving for this point. Y'all are both stupid.
I love shucking and jiving. That's my favorite fucking
He
term.
is.
And if you're watching, shucking and jiving for you.
Shucking and jiving. And I know he feels a way about not being accepted by his community.
Absolutely.
Trying to backtrack about a series of tweets. He basically was coming at other people like, well, I've been called not black enough, and how is that possible? So now I
called him not black enough.
Listen,
because of the way his personality is. Because if you think about the way he carries himself, he's absolutely not stereotypical. You know what I mean?
Neither am I.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Everybody wants a black guy to be another Pac, a black guy to be a fucking Jay-Z, black guy, and they want all the black women to be another video girl or like Michelle Obama. Nothing like, you know what I'm saying?
So they can easily put you in the little company.
Right.
They don't want it to be questioned.
Those are we experience the same injustices. And to say that you don't makes me believe that you're looking out for your dollar. Because you're bullshitting, you're lying.
Oh no, like he said,
you know what I'm saying?
But he said he did at the end of everything else. So his first response is, I was like, you're definitely looking out for your coins. Then at the end, after everybody's dragging your ass, now you're like, wait a minute, I've experienced A, B, and C or being discriminated against within my own community, which a lot of us, like CJ was saying, because of how we talk and the white shit, because they like to call the nerd stuff white stuff, the white people stuff we're into or whatever. Yes, people will clown on us in our own community. I get that theory. But the point right now is, my brother, you were supposed to pick a side and it wasn't supposed to be green. It was supposed to be black.
Against systemic bullshit.
Not you
that's what we're
up,
talking about.
And but you know what?
Getting clowned about liking certain shit is not gonna make or break your
it's not the difference between people like him and people like CJ. I need people that decide, because again, it's a choice. I need people that decide to be with someone who's not POC when they are, to make sure that if you are speaking up, you're speaking up in a CJ-esque way, and you're not doing this thing where you're trying to protect and coddle a white person or a non-POC when they are not the ones that need protecting and coddling right now. And that's what he had to do, because your wife is mixed up. So you would have looked real bad going too hard for the other side because you're a mixed up household. But then that also lets me know maybe there's not a conversation or environment in your home where you can freely speak up about some stuff without it being some drama.
That's more of a problem than anything else. I mean, and you know, because obviously if you don't know and you're just listening to this the first time, I'm Blasian, so I'm black and Asian. My fiance is 100% white. You would, like, people would never know. Some people got really upset when they found out I was like going hard for the Asian community in May for their Asian History Month and stuff like that.
Crazy.
People unfollowed us. It was so crazy. I know.
Because they found out,
and that's cool.
It was a black.
0.5 Asian women in our.
I know. But a little surprise secret, most of those black girls you think are black are actually half Asian as well, just so you know. I won't put no names out there because, you know. But, like, here's the thing. Just because you're with a black person doesn't make you not racist also. And that's the part that people forget. And that's why it's home so hard when the black partner is saying something for the white community instead of for the black community. Because if you guys didn't forget, slave owners were white and they were fucking black people too.
Raping. Let's get it right.
That's what I'm saying. So that didn't stop them. That did not stop them to have sex with them. They did not give a fuck. And that's why it's so important to understand, like, just because you're with a certain kind of partner race-wise, that doesn't give you a free pass for anything. You're still an individual, and what you say fucking matters. You know what I'm saying? Which I think brings us to the next part of our show about swirl love.
Outrageous.
Outrageous.
Disclaimer. DJ just popped in. If you were watching YouTube, no, that was not a second Brandi. That was her son.
Not a second Brandi. We looked at her like,
people are like, wait, there's two Brandis. No, that was her son.
Oh my God, yes.
Her stunt double.
I'm gonna he's gonna be here one day instead of me, and I'm still gonna get the Brandi blocker, and it'll just be him.
And then we won't notice.
We're gonna look at all extra man.
You won't notice.
We won't notice. You just put that beanie on him. Put the beanie on him and just sit
Oh my
down.
God. Put the beanie on him, it'll look just like
Put the beanie on him, makeup all fucked up. He's like, so today, on the Triangl.
So why's your voice so deep today, Brandi? What is happening?
That is how he sounds.
That boy looks just like you.
Dances with you. Like, how did you know?
Just like you, but no, for real. Okay, so I was on IG, and there's this page called Beautiful Black People, and they were obviously I don't agree or disagree 100%, but they were talking about how the difference between a black man being with a white woman and a black woman being with a white man is. And one of the things that happened was, let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, so Tika, right? Sumter? Am I saying her last name right?
Actress, yes.
Okay, so she's an actress, and she is with a white man, and what she said was, "Dear Black interracial couples with a significant other who is white," raise his hand because she is, "we do not need to protect them. I promise they will be A-okay. They need to continue to fight for us. If they get offended when you talk about racists, you have a bigger problem on your hands." And I agree with her completely. Now, the other example they gave was a black man with a white woman. And what he wrote was, it's a little long-winded, but here we go. I will try to go through it really fast. So, people of color, let me introduce you to my white wife, Rebecca Holden. She's my best friend, my world, the greatest blessing God has ever given me. She feels your pain. He already fucked up when he said she feels your pain. She worries for her husband when he leaves the house, and she too is deeply saddened by some of our nation's most recent events, the murders of Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd. Please know that when you make blanket statements or generalizations about how all white people are racist, you're talking about my wife. In fact, you're talking about some of my closest friends and the best people I know. That I can't tolerate. I'm okay with people making judgments about me of my skin color. To be honest, I couldn't care any less what people think of me. However, when you make statements about the people I care about, it ticks me off. Get off Facebook and know that not everyone has to express themselves the same way you do. Was what came out. He wants
to make expressions about what he can't tolerate. That's my issue with that. You want to protect your wife, that's your wife. I know that's your wifey at the end of the day. You're the man of the household. You want to protect her and all of that shit. I get it. But at the same time, homie.
Like, he's talking to you, homie.
You black as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to protect. Who the fuck is protecting you? Because if somebody knock your black ass off, who the fuck gonna protect your wife?
Is on fire
at the end of the fucking day. Look out for yourself, homeboy. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck do we have to do?
What if he
what the fuck do we have to do or say to make this shit make any more fucking sense? I completely fucking understand where you're coming from, sir. I get it. You have to protect your wife. But dude.
But he included all his white friends.
Fucking block off. Oh, and so that's the part.
Yeah.
I can't get jiggy with that.
Because I'm telling you, 50% of those guys do not give a fuck about him.
Who you devoted yourself to. I get it.
Because my friend Liz is
doing with the motherfucking program before the program get with your ass and knock your black ass off. I hope that doesn't happen. But hey, you live in America, right? I hope. So that way your ass will wake up one day. I hope your ass wakes up before it falls onto your children's lap, is what I hope. Because your kids are going to be black as fuck, whether you want to believe it or not. They're going to be black as fuck. And I hope your ass teaches them something besides the bullshit that you just posted. I hope you teach them to be cautious. Because the motherfuckers is coming. Like they came for me and the rest of my fucking family. And they don't give a fuck. Just take heed. You best take heed. Yes, not for your sake, because you obviously don't give a fuck. For your children and your grandchildren's sake, because they're gonna be black as fuck.
That part. Like,
you can't even handle a blanket statement. We know it's not 100% true. Even when we talk on this podcast about stuff, we're
not talking about all white people,
every single person or whatever. But this is a big enough problem where it's the majority, my nigga. So that's the problem. It's a majority.
It's like this.
So they have to say something about it.
And what he doesn't understand, I think, is the part where we know the people who are racist. It's that triangle we posted. The people who are racist and who are in the Klan and all of that. We see them. They're on the tip of that fucking iceberg. They want themselves
to be seen. That's the crazy.
Right. Below this line here, below this little tip of the iceberg situation, there is this tremendous area. I mean, I don't want to lump it all together. It's that passive aggressiveness. It's the things that you say, the things that you think that you don't voice, but you think.
And we posted on our page because there were so many good phrases that are put in there, these little microaggressions where it's like,
oh my God.
When you read it, you're like, damn, I've heard that as a POC. I've heard this before, and I guarantee you his wife has said some shit like that.
Yeah, like, you know,
like that about her future kid's hair, like, oh, his hair is so like kinky, nappy, whatever. It's just crazy shit that we're just so used to hearing.
What the fuck so people who make comments like that, you fucked on a nigga who had the nappiest hair that I'm sure you've probably ever seen. Don't be surprised when your offspring comes out with some shit that might be a little harder to grow.
You know
Learn how
what?
to condition that shit and manage it.
People don't. I had when Heather was born and her hair started to curl, some of the people around her was like, "Why is her hair so curly?" Because she's so fair skinned. Listen, I'm telling you.
Because she's so black. That's why. She a nigga. That's why her hair. See, I'm like, because she a nigga. That's why.
But see, that's the thing, and I have to. If you ask her what she is, she'll tell you that she's Okinawan black and white. That's what she'll tell you. She's 4.
She knows.
Okay, she knows.
She already knows.
I make sure she knows, because if she doesn't understand that part, how are you going to teach them when they hit to high school? It's too late. It's too late. It's very late. So they need to know from the get-go.
You know what, CJ? That is very important. For people that don't talk to their kids about like sex and race and all type of stuff until we can't do that. It may feel more them of a certain innocence, but like I told somebody before, I'd rather be the person to open that veil up on my son than let the world do it, because the world's going to do it in a way that we may not like or approve.
It's going to be harsh.
I'm right. They ain't going to give a fuck. I actually love you, so I can give you that real shit and also cater it to your age, your temperament, whatever. There's always a way to talk to somebody, but you do a disservice and an injustice to your household and the rest of the society when you're not teaching them these things. And I love hearing more and more on social media, celebrity or regular folks talk about how they're talking to their kids when they're white. Because I feel like as people of color, we're always having conversations with our kids and ourselves, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, what are y'all talking about to y'all kids, to the next generation?
You want to know what they're talking about? I'll tell you what they're talking about. Because they have privilege and some of them don't know it, all they're talking about is going to college.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's what I mean. But I'm saying, like, now that the conversation can actually turn for those that give a fuck, you need to have these.
You're going to have to add it in. You know what else me and Dee was talking about before we started recording? I didn't want to go in on it, but you know, the differences between what we just read about the black man with the white woman and the black woman with the white man also probably stems from the fact that the woman is in charge of the household a lot of times still. You know what I mean? Like for me, we eat a lot of Asian food and black food, right? And it's because I cook. Also, the celebrations that happen are around my cultural stuff as well. And the way I celebrate is very Asian. Like, if you come to one of our birthday parties, we have too much food. It's even black and Asian people. We have too much food that when there's like leftovers for days and people
9 times out of 10 when you have a couple, like a straight couple, it's gonna be the woman that's gonna be organizing.
That's what
everything.
I'm saying.
The man generally usually don't give a fuck. They're just like, okay, take
like fucking D's right. Rob is cool with whatever I decide to do. Like he's whatever.
You're saying because Tika is basically kind of not running the relationship, but
but like a lot of, and I feel like that is also why that whole situation stems when we're like, oh, the black girl is with a white guy. People don't feel so offended by it versus the black man being with a white woman because he kind of assimilates more to the whiteness because she's the one who's doing the same thing the black woman is doing. So him and her are going to 4th of July parties instead of going to Juneteenth parties is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because the woman is usually in charge of the celebrations and how those things work.
Woman would be the one cooking for this party.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She would be cooking the food because, we're celebrating Juneteenth.
Like the cultural aspect is very much rooted in women in all aspects throughout history, because if you look at history, a lot of celebrations are always around the women in the kitchen or women out doing gathering stuff, with the women praying. Right. You know what I mean?
From the standpoint, like I have not, and if I have seen it, I apologize, and maybe y'all relationship wasn't memorable, but I have not seen CJ, or like I'm like always saying, I just haven't seen a lot of undeniably black girls like Tika with a guy that looks like that white guy looks like. They look like Black Barbie and freaking Brad Pitt, and it's kind of like that's an anomaly to me. I'm like, I know it's out there. I do see it a lot, and then when I do see it, in social media, like Tika and her man, like Serena Williams, like that one girl that got with Pacey from Dawson's Creek. They're typically getting dragged. They're being disowned and canceled in a harsher way than I think some of the Black men are, because I think by this moment, a lot of people feel like, oh, that's typical, or we knew she was going to be an other or whatever. And I feel like it's expected of us to always be with a Black man. So when we're not, our loyalty is called into question.
Of course, always.
He dragged Issa Rae for like pointing out valid statistics about Asian men and Black women and comments, and she's engaged to a Black dude, but we couldn't even say anything about another man, and then completely dragged and disowned. But then that also lets me know, for the most part in our communities, like you guys just made great points of, we're the backbones, we're the drummers, we're doing every goddamn thing. So as soon as we take our hands off of it, you're kind of like, man, where's my backbone? Where's the structure? The woman,
which is all the more reason why there's an excuse to run off and do whatever.
Oh yeah, because it's one thing to like what you like, it's another thing to blame Black women while you date whatever.
Right. And those are two totally different things. Because I hear both arguments.
But
fuck that shit. I ain't getting with no black woman.
But I do think that the difference between those, at least in my opinion, go back to slavery, and even further back, just how white women are looked at to be.
Oh, of course. It all plays a part in all of it. There's no simple like digestion of any of this, I don't think. I think it's just part of, what you said and what I said. It's a mixture, and I'm sure there's more avenues that we can explore that kind of creates this mass.
That dissertation about her, I'm not surprised by a Black man feeling that way or talking and feeling like, she's not to be came at crazy. She can't defend herself. I have to do it. She can't fight for herself, whatever. We're not giving that same thing, because I bet you who she would probably sit back like, that ain't what you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so that white comedian guy who's married to a Black lady? I can't remember his name. Huh?
Gary Owen.
He's one of my favorites as well. Like, my favorite bit that he did was with her, like, making a cake and, like, licking the frosting. And he was like, you just put your finger in the frosting. And she was like, everybody in this goddamn house either came in me or out of me. I could do what as I fucking please. And I was like, lick that frosting, girl. You lick. Like, he's my, like, I knew before I even looked it up on Google that he was married to a Black woman. Like,
yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And
it was his reaction. He was like, eat that motherfucking frosting.
Listen, let me tell you something. And I know Rob listens to every single one of my episodes that we record together. So he's going to hear it anyway. I know he don't give a fuck. But let me tell you, I think when you have a personality as strong as the Black women who have to be that way, because Black women have to be strong. They don't have a choice. And I think that's why it came out of Tika's mouth like that, is that she's good because she's Black and a woman. And she was like, he's good too because he's with me, right? Ain't no, if he's with me, he can handle this. You ain't got to worry about him. And I feel the same way about Rob. Like, he's with me. You should hear the way he talks sometimes. I was like, you hanging out with me too much. Because he's talking about it be that way sometimes. I said, sir, that is not your language.
Yes, right.
Then my 16-year-old said the same thing. I was like, you guys need to calm down. I'm gonna have to chill on that. But you know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel like Gary Owens is.
His catfish. It be that way sometimes.
Dude,
Oprah.
That man eats stuff hotter than I can. I'm telling you right now. Spicier shit than I can handle. Like he was like, I'd be that way sometimes. I was like, you need to calm down with all of that.
Was he cleaning greens when he said that?
Was he pulling rocks out of beans?
Out
of beans on the counter.
You don't come home after listening to this episode like, what the fuck? What is this?
He just took the peach cobbler out the oven when he said it.
But you know what's great though? But I feel like
no mint.
No mint. Yes, no mint.
He's like,
no mint though? I don't know.
No mint.
What is he? Fucking
Thor.
He dressed up as Thor last Halloween, by the way. He did. It looked good. He did Thor in the pajamas with.
That's Dude Thor.
Yeah, Dude Thor.
You know your Thors.
He did do Thor. It was great. But anyway, I totally lost my train of thought. No, but I was gonna say, like, and it's also very important if you do have a partner that is not of your race or culture, to know that they're open to these conversations, because he has said some stuff that I was like, what the fuck? But then me understanding that that's how he grew up as well, and him being open to that conversation was the most important thing. Because if not, this would not work. You know what I'm saying? If I tell you that you can't call somebody a certain thing, like I even had to tell my mama, because she's so old school and she's so used to hearing, she used to say colored people. I was like, you can't say that anymore. You can't say colored people. It's not how you say it. But like she fixed it because she didn't know. And it's, similar situations with this side too. And the point is, though, if you can't find a partner who's willing to have this conversation, if you are in a swirl couple situation, then you're going to have a lot bigger of a problem than just having a partner who's white or black. Like, because if you can't be open about these conversations, because you're going to need him to be like, I definitely needed him over the weekend, like last weekend, where I was like feeling overwhelmed with all of the things that are happening, the protests, people being killed. Like, it was continuous. People being run over, people getting shot, people just being left in the street after being shot by the cops, like that the cook, what's his name again? But like it was just going on and on and on. And having somebody who can be understanding of that, he may not know exactly what the pain is, but him being able to empathize a little bit was like the saving factor. You know what I mean? And if you can't have that, I don't think that the guy who was talking about his wife, Rebecca, I don't know that Rebecca would do the same thing from the way it sounds, because he has made a situation in that relationship where he upholds her whiteness more than his blackness. I feel like.
That's my point.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the part that a lot of us don't, because they be acting like black women just have a problem with the mix.
That's not it.
Levels to the shit. We don't like that. We don't have that same type of respect and protection and honor from y'all, and not even having to be y'all girl, because I know how I feel. And then you don't even have to be my man. I'll be like, you good? Like, what's going on? I've stopped my car to record to make sure ain't no crazy
Same.
stuff.
I be looking when I see cop cars.
I be looking. I do that because I care, not getting too involved because I worry about my own safety as a woman.
Of course.
But letting it be known, hey, I see you. You're seeing. Are you good? Are you okay? When we feel like that same loyalty and across, we're like, yeah, fuck y'all then. Like, go ahead and be accepted by them. But like Dee was saying earlier, we hope that you get it, you get that wake up call and you answer, because baby, when they decide to turn on that ass, like hearing about when Terrence Howard, because he's always dating and marrying others. And there are two families, a Hispanic and an Asian woman he was with, where he said there were encounters, police were called, folks was calling him the N-word. And that's when I'm like, okay, bruh.
And that's the thing. And, I like, especially with all of these things going down, I'm like having to reevaluate even some of my own friendships that I may have like even let go, because the main person in that friendship was my friend. And she might have like an ex that has used the N-word towards black people, and I'm just like sitting here like, man, if she's allowing that still in her life, like, what does that say about all the people around her that allows that to like stay in our lives? You know what I mean? Like,
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
That told me about a retreat she went on, and I'm not making this shit
up. It's bad, isn't it?
When I heard it, I said, run it back. Because I can't. It's not funny, but I'm laughing.
Yes.
On a retreat, she went to Hawaii, and everybody there was white but her, because they was into like their meditation and gemstones, all that witchcraft shit. So they was on a witch retreat, and one of the girls was describing somebody else to one of the other white girls. My black friend said she hears this girl say, oh yeah, no, Troy's not, because they were trying to figure out ethnicity. And she said, oh, Troy's not right, Troy's a nigga. Everybody else, why she said it, right? So I guess when it got brought back up from somebody else that was not her, because she felt like, I'm outnumbered, I don't want to say anything. Like a lot of stuff's just going through her head. They all invested to be there for this like meditation retreat, so she wasn't trying to fuck up the flow. Right. So I get it, but she feels a way thinking back on it now with everything going on. So she reached out and said something, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all in the same group. And I guess the girl said she felt like she could say it because she had been living in Hawaii so long. She felt like she was Hawaiian. And that was her reason. And I was like, I did not know you could live in a place for so long and decide that you are that. And then also we'll have that run into, because this is, I wouldn't say a problem, but I can see where the problem arises in our community with that word, because some people see it as, if you're of color, you can say it as long as you're not white. And there's other people that are like, if you are not black, you can't say it.
Right, right.
So we have somebody that decided to adopt being Hawaiian and decided, well, that's a color in nigga.
That's like saying all the white people in South Africa could say nigga. That's crazy.
I wish Charlize Theron would.
No, shit. She should be acting like it. But you know what? Like, I get where she came from, because I went to a car show. I don't know if people don't know this, but I am not the one. You got the right bitch when you start shit with me. So this girl, it's mostly white, maybe speckles of black and brown here and there. Speckles, looking like a fucking sparrow egg is what it is. Speckles. And we around the bonfire, my ass is pregnant. So, already I'm about to fight.
Heather was ready.
And this girl that I do not know, Caucasian, turns around out of all the people. I'm not even from there, because it's in Arkansas. Not from there. You don't even know my name, but she saw me, and I guess she knew that I was mixed, and probably heard people talking about the food I brought. Because I brought a whole bunch of Asian food and stuff. She just turned around and was like, "So what's the best place to get egg rolls around here?" Yeah. I was like, "Who the fuck are you talking to? I'm not the one. I'm not the one." I mean, I'm going to spare everybody the whole conversation, but it does happen. And that's what I mean. Like, yeah, it's so crazy that because a lot of black people who are like darker complexion than me will look at me and say that you can't possibly know. I'm not saying I do know all the hardships and the suffering, because I know mine isn't even like 10% of what y'all feel, but it happens because black is black to these people. They do not give a fuck. Asian is Asian to these people. They do not give a fuck about
it's kind of like when hotel guests ask me where they can get drugs from, and I'm like,
because they see a black thug.
I am a member of management in this establishment, and you're asking me for drugs.
You a thug.
Only because I'm black. You would not have asked anyone else.
You up there with a whole jacket and tie on.
With your name tag, gold name tag and everything.
Name tag and everything.
Management.
They also do that silly shit, and they'll be like, "Oh, you know how to do the Dougie, right?" And it's like, why the fuck would you think I knew how to do it?
Right. And then they can't backpedal on that shit. Like, why do you think that?
Why would you think I knew that?
It's
like, you might as well ask me where the best fried chicken and watermelon is.
I mean, they do. Where are the best egg rolls, CJ? Like, who the fuck are you? I mean, that's just one of few examples, but there's
Alaska.
more.
That's what the best egg rolls are.
Not Alaska.
I mean,
Alaska.
Bringing
it back. Full circle.
CJ makes the best egg rolls only in Alaska.
I can't stand you. No, we're not taking it all the way back to episode 1. I'm done. I'm done.
Hey, you know what that was? That was outrageous.
Look at him. I hate all of you. Why do you guys know the choreo for this too? What is this?
I wanna be a goldie.
I hate you guys. I can't. You know what though? Like, I hope that a lot of good comes out of it and keeps coming out of it, because there is some stuff coming out on the forefront.
It's coming, baby.
That, I mean, when we said a couple weeks ago, we said this feels different this time. I think it does feel different this time. I think there's going to be a much more swift movement in policies, swifter movement everywhere.
There's going to be a decline just because of how society works and how we get our information out. So something's hot and a big deal, and then it's not. That's anything right now.
That's what I was saying. Like 6 months from now, I don't want this to die out. I want this to be ongoing, because we just spent 400 or 500 years dealing with this shit. We can't let it die out in 6 months. We have to keep it going.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's not something that's continuously in the forefront on the news, just because how they have stuff. But what I don't want people to give up on, don't think just because it's not the hot hashtag or something to post on Instagram that we need to stop things, because what y'all are doing to get the mayors to do things differently, what you're doing in your communities, what you can do on a global scale, keep that pace going behind the scenes, because I think that's when you really see what somebody's about and what they're made of, when it's not that's an IG moment.
If we can pull a Hong Kong, that'd be great. I know people might be like, that's crazy, CJ, because they've been at it for like a year now or maybe longer with their protests.
It's crazy. What? Nobody has anything else to do. A lot of people are still unemployed.
This was like a perfect storm, wasn't it? Like everybody's at home.
It really was.
And everybody felt the oppression, the smidgen of oppression that I keep talking, the smidgen. They were told they can't do shit. Then they got beat like black people get beat. White people, like they got a taste, a 2-week, 3-week taste of what we've been talking about. Because here's I don't know, I can't remember what I was reading, but somebody has said something along the lines of like, it's crazy that finally, like, you know what, because in the past when somebody of color got murdered by the police and got beat up by the police, everybody was like, oh, that's too bad, basically, and went on with their lives. You know what I'm saying? But now that they're in the forefront with us and seeing it firsthand, that 9-minute video changed everything. It wasn't like a clip from the police camera. It wasn't from the police car. It was somebody a teenager, actually. She was like 17, recorded that whole entire incident. Like, it's crazy. And the fucking store owner got a GoFundMe made by fucking Candace Owens that got shut down too. They had actually raised $205,000. That means people donated $205,000.
I'm not surprised because I saw how much they raised for Zimmerman. So
my God.
I'm never
surprised. Or even the 2 guys who fucking killed Ahmaud Arbery. Yeah.
They're out because they believe
that shit.
I don't know. But anyway. I hope our podcast has been helpful in making you guys think about stuff if you are not Black and don't know what it's like. We'll keep telling you the stories and the things that we go through, because I think experience is one of the strongest narratives that you can have when you talk to people about it. You know what I mean? Specific examples is like very important now. And now we have cameras on every fucking phone. So
I love
keep recording this shit.
Don't get on people for recording, for not jumping in, because we need these recordings.
Yeah, I agree with that, because there's situations where you can't stop what's happening, because then you will get fucking hurt. And I don't know that a female who, like, for example, the George Floyd situation, that 17-year-old girl who recorded it, there's no way for her to jump in on that.
No, she can't jump in on that.
No. 4 cops and a Black teen.
More than just recording. I'm happy the recording came. I like in this recording, because I was talking about PJ too, when Emmett Till's mother decided to have an open casket.
So she could let everybody know.
And people
everybody can see exactly what's going on.
One thing to hear about it and maybe see stuff here and there, but when it's something or someone perceived to be innocent, because no matter what y'all try to dig up on this man's path, the point of that video is he was innocent. He was helpless.
Yep.
Like Emmett Till was helpless against multiple people.
Yep.
Same shit, different day.
The craziest thing.
All right, y'all. Go to ears and cleanse your chakra.
Yes. By the way, I was going to say about that witch thing, I really need all my brown and Black sisters and brothers who are wizards and warlocks to come out of their shells and get together. Because here's the thing, this is not new age, this is old shit. We've been doing it. We've been doing it. We've been doing it. We need to come together and do some shit. Anyways, on that note, we're about to leave out. So if you've enjoyed our podcast thus far, make sure you subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. If you're watching us on YouTube, check out them dancing to songs all the time towards the end. Make sure you like and comment. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you get all of our episodes. The Triangl episodes drop on Thursdays every week at noon Central. Oh my God. And then our news angle episode, if you love our low brown news, is every Monday at 9 a.m. Central as well. They are doing the entire choreography Oh my
My
god.
shop's free.
Yeah, my shop's free.
Disclaimers. We don't own the lyrics or the choreo.
It's like, but the door shuts. It's like, boom.
Yeah, it was like that slam.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'm done. On that note,
You ain't done.
Stay woke, stay blessed, stay logical, stay safe. If you're black, stay black. If you're not, support POC and Allies Unite. We'll check you guys out later. Peace out. Bye.